over time realized like this property over here, this is a problem property. Like this is constantly bad tenants, or the roof is always leaking, or there's something wrong with this property and this property. I don't like these types of streams of income. I'm going to sell those and I'm going to reinvest that money into a different stream of income. And we've done that several times where you just get rid of the problem ones.
Welcome back to The Donkey and the Bee, where I'm the bee. I'm Laura Chotkevys. He's the donkey. He's Brett Chotkevys. Where we talk all things marriage, entrepreneurship, and finances.
That's right.
Tips, tricks.
The goods. How to apply this and
exactly.
succeed in your marriage.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been married, what, 17 years?
17
and
years.
I tell you what, we're crushing it.
We're crushing it.
It's been easy for you. I'm just going to say.
Oh
Very easy for you.
Yes, it's been so easy.
Yes. Me on the other side, it's not been quite as easy. But, at least I'm helping you succeed.
Oh, yeah. You're such a sweetheart, aren't you? Goodness.
So today, we are talking about multiple streams of income. And it's very countercultural. There is a lot of talk about climbing the corporate ladder, about the rat race. And we're going to share some tips and some strategies of how we have achieved financial freedom through multiple streams of income. There's a variety of ways you can do this, but I think hitting the foundation and really just poking holes in what is common in the culture today, because they really don't want you to have financial freedom. They don't want you to have multiple streams of income. They want you to be stuck in the system, a pawn for their use, their plaything. And you really just can't get ahead in life that way. There's so many things that happen to you in life and so many challenges that you have to have a system for this. You have to have multiple streams of income. And we're going to stress the importance of it today. We're going to talk about how we implemented it, how you can start implementing it if you haven't, and what the net result is, how you can, again, retire early or have your ducks in a row for when bad things happen in life, because they will. Here's how you're prepared for it.
Yeah, this is for everybody. I don't want anyone listening thinking, oh, well, that's just for someone who knows what they're doing in real estate or who has educated themselves in this area or that. No, that's BS. That's not true. This is for anybody, even the youngest individual of 18 years old, even younger than that, because our daughters are starting this. And so this is for everybody listening. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Awesome. All right, let's kick it off.
Okay.
So I really like this question, and it relates to financial freedom, financial independence. And the question, and the first time I heard it, it resonated with me. So here's this question. It is, if you stopped working today, how many days in the future could you financially afford to live for?
I think most people would say 1 week to 3 weeks, depending on if you live paycheck to paycheck.
Most people live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to make it hopefully to the end of the month, and then rent or mortgage, credit card bill, car payment is due, and then you're stuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wherever day it is, you're going to make it to the 30th, and that is it, right?
Yep.
And there is a better plan than that. We have achieved financial freedom through multiple ways, but we'll talk about it today. Multiple streams of income through real estate and other means. But the answer to our question is indefinitely. If you and I stopped working today, if our kids got sick and we said, hey, we are stopping immediately, we're not going to do anything else, we would probably spend less to cut things back. But nonetheless, we could live indefinitely. So it's very countercultural, this idea. And the common theme, the common thing that's taught in this culture is to have one primary source of income. And that's really it. As you want to save more, as you want to invest, as you want to buy more fun things or have a better house or move, to the suburbs, what you have to do is you have to replace that one income with another better one income.
Yeah. Climbing the corporate ladder is what you're saying. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you get that one job and you're kissing your boss's butt to try to get that, next position that's paying what, $5,000-$10,000 more a year. And then you get that position and then you're just continuing on trying to make $5,000 to $10,000 more a year in hopes that you'll make what at the end, $150,000 maybe, $200,000. I don't.
Yeah. And there's a better way than that, because there's really big risk as you're going through this, right? If as you are job jumping and you're going and climbing the corporate ladder, whether you're getting a promotion or whether you're going to a different industry or different company, you have a big uncertainty during that transition period. You don't know if you're going to like the job. You don't know if your boss is going to like you. You don't know if it's a fit at all. You may literally like take a new position, get a big pay raise, maybe 10, 20 grand pay raise. And then all of a sudden, like, you hate your life. We've been in that position multiple times before we became entrepreneurs. We hated our jobs. We hated our bosses. And you would cry before going to work every day.
Thanks a lot. Just throw me under the bus. No, I totally did. I cried every day before I went working for a government job. It was awful. It just wasn't me. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
In a cubicle by yourself on the computer, working for the man.
It's not good.
Not good.
But so many people have these type of jobs. They literally can't stand going to work every day. And this is their only option. They are trapped in this system. They have the one paycheck every 2 weeks. Here's my only source of income. And if I got fired, everything comes tumbling down. Mm-hmm. They built a tower of cards, right? With debt and expenses. And the more they have climbed the corporate ladder, every paycheck that they got, they didn't save the difference there, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't invest the difference. They didn't get multiple streams of income or passive income from this climbing the corporate ladder. They just got new purses, trip to Maui, the boats,
the car,
they installed the pool in the backyard, put the kids in private school, right? A lot of these things are great things, but not if everything is going into a liability section and not an asset section. Mm-hmm. So this sits you up in a situation where you're literally one missed paycheck away from everything crumbling. And life is volatile. And there's a lot of kicks in the face, and it never goes the way you think. Mm-hmm. And I think every few years, life just shakes you up hard enough that it's like, whoa, like something just happened to me, right? Like I just had this situation with my family, my kids, my health, my job, and now I'm like in these scrambling, I'm using my emergency fund, or I'm literally out of money. I going back to that question, how many days could you live? I only lived for like 7. And then I'm like, okay, well, now how do I pay these bills? How do I live?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When Brett and I were talking about this, he mentioned Murphy's Law, and I had heard of it, but I'm like, what is Murphy's Law? And so he's like, you don't know what Murphy's Law is? I was like, no. So looked it up, and it says anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and at the worst possible time. So I think Murphy's Law happens to most people every day when you get that flat tire, or someone in your family gets sick or something like that. We actually just went on a camping trip, and we got a flat tire on a trailer on the way back. And it was not a big deal because we were prepared. We had the tools to change the tire. We were calm, cool, and collected. We pulled over the side of the road. We jacked the trailer up, changed a tire, and off we go. But we had the tools and everything in our toolbox, our tool belt, I should say. And so it's kind of similar with this as well, having multiple streams of income. You have the tools to cover yourself if you ever were to encounter a situation where someone in your family got sick or you lost your job.
Yeah, it's a safety net. It's a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
But more than that, it's a backup plan that becomes your primary plan. And I think we'll unpack that, how you start, what you do during the middle, and how you exit the game, how you get out of the rat race, how you achieve financial freedom through this strategy. And it's a long and safe play. It's not a get rich quick kind of thing, but it's a slow and steady, and it compounds and it snowballs. And over, we did it in a decade. Some people do it in longer or shorter, but you can literally choose to retire if you like. You can work for free if you like. You can just volunteer your time because you have these multiple streams of income which have surpassed your active income. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that.
Let's do it. Wait, hold on. Side note real quick. I want people to know that if whatever situation that you're in that you're unhappy with, you can choose to get out of that. I think a lot of people think that they're stuck in a certain position that they're in, or a certain job or a certain relationship that's harmful to them, or that's, pulling them back from their true potential. Like, you are the author of your life. Like, you're like the script writer and you're the main actor in your life, right? You can switch it up. You can write a new script for yourself. So if you're listening to this thing like, well, I'm not gonna have multiple streams of income. I don't know what they're talking about. They don't know my past and my lack of education or whatever excuse you're making, right? That's an excuse. And this is your life. You only have one life to live. Change the script. So I just wanted to say that.
That's
Sorry.
good. Get a little motivation in your life today. So, all right, we're talking about multiple streams of income here, and we're going to break this down into two categories: active streams of income and passive streams. So as far as starting, like actionable items, you just have your one job, you work for the man, you love it, you hate it doesn't matter, right? But it's just one stream of income. How do you start? So you start with an additional stream of active income. And let's talk about a couple different things where you could potentially start, right? You have a job, you have potentially a W-2 job, you have a boss, you go and you trade your time, you do some type of set of tasks and you get a paycheck from it. You don't need to go learn an entirely new industry, an entirely new niche. You don't have to go back to trade school or night school. What is the sister tasks that are at your current job? You can go to your current employer and say, hey, I'm doing this. What if I added this, right? I'm already kind of overlapping in these areas. What if I just brought on this, right? Like, how can I add value to the company? And can I get a raise from that? Or can I get some type of side pay for that? If I'm doing this and I can do it more effectively, or I can simultaneously do these other tasks over here that are not getting done, and let's take a look. Here's how I can add value, bring more income into the business. Can I get a piece of that action? What else can I do? If I'm here in this office building, can I stay 2 hours late and do an entirely different person's job and bring in 25% more income? What can I do where I'm currently at?
Yeah, I think it's a good start, because I think when we think of side hustle or multiple streams of income, we think, oh, I have to do this like 2 or 3 more jobs on the weekend. And yes, that may be the case. But I think looking inside where you're currently working and seeing the opportunities that you can utilize there, I think is a good start. And think outside the box here. I mean, I think it is kind of difficult to do. Like you think, okay, well, I'm a server. Okay, I'm a server at a restaurant. I'm here for 6 hours for my shift. What can I do to earn a little extra income? And Brett, actually, we were servers back in the day. So, we were servers for a long, long time. Brett, the place where he worked, you could pick up other people's side work and they would pay you $25 to pick up their side work. And so that's just an example, right? Of like, you're in your job, you're doing your job. Hey, I can make an extra $25 per shift if I just pick up one person's side work. I mean, that's the way to look at it here, is like, I'm already here. What can I do to earn extra income?
Yeah, this is true. And that was a strategy. Like, it was a very common thing. People were trying to get out so they could go to the bar. And then other people were like, hey, I can make an extra $25 to $50 per shift. And, that's several $100s a month to $400 to $800 a month by doing this. I'm already here waiting for my tables to leave. I can go do your side work, which is really just like closing chores. I'm cleaning and things like that, doing roll-ups. So let me do yours while I'm doing mine.
Yeah.
And you're not wasting any time. You're literally it was just some type of little side hustle.
Mm-hmm. That's on the smaller end of things. We can go to the larger end of things. We can even talk about our mentorship or partnership program that we do for our assisted living. There's multiple streams that we pull in. I don't know if you want to kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah. So we own and operate Platinum Resort Assisted Living and Memory Care, right? So we take care of grandmas and grandpas at the end of life. And then we train people on how to do that. So we have active training that we do. We one-on-one coach and mentor, but then we also have more passive trainings that we do. They're on demand, they're recorded, but either way, there's still multiple incomes coming in from us. Mm-hmm. And if you are not an entrepreneur, you don't have your own company where you could do something like that, here's the exact same example. We have managers that run our assisted living for us, and then we have a side coaching business, right? We pay the managers a side fee to come and train other people, like our clients. I don't want to spend my time doing that. There's a spread and a margin there. I'm happy to pay the managers to do that. So it's literally, they're not learning anything new. They're not going to night school. They are literally teaching people how to do their job. And these people want to do that. So this is a perfect example. If you have a job, how to make additional income from using your exact same skill set.
Yeah. What I think hinders people from picking up a side gig or having a side hustle or whatever it may be is it's not glamorous. And I can give an example of this is when when Brett was going through Fire Academy years back, I had 3 jobs because he wasn't working. And so I was working for the city, and then I did another working for the city with kids after school. And then after I would leave that, I would go to my server job. And there were multiple times where I would see people that I worked with in the city. They would come to dinner at my restaurant where I was serving. And I was so embarrassed. And it was probably just my insecurity, right? I shouldn't have cared what they thought. But it was like you're serving tables too, like, oh, you're not making enough money at the city type of thing. And I think it was the lack of education on my end that what was probably happening is they were struggling too financially, not making enough money. But I thought they were making a ton of money in their position because they had the, manager position within the city. And what I didn't know is they probably were struggling. And so I think it's almost setting aside your insecurities and going to the garage sale and picking up those items and reselling them on eBay or Etsy or whatever it may be. And even if you see people that you know while you're doing your side gig, like, I mean, I think that's a great example for them that they can do the same thing too. Take that money that you're getting from the side gig and put it to the side for passive investment.
Yeah. So Laura mentioned this story. When I was waiting tables, I was working at Morton's, and there was a busser there, and he made busser money. It wasn't setting himself up for a huge, expensive lifestyle, but so he would do that every single day, 5 shifts a week. But his main or his side gig, which actually paid him more than his main job, was he would go around on like Craigslist and things and estate sales and buy discounted items, and then every single Saturday he had like a little flea market stall, and he would make literally every Saturday more than he made from his actual W-2 job, right? So there's other things that you can do, and it's so important that you don't let the judgments of other people stop you from doing these things, or this whole like work-life balance kind of crap that's in the culture right now. This 4-hour work week, like nobody who works a 4-hour work week gets ahead in this life, right? Like they're just, the world is expensive and you need a higher amount of income, and you really want to get ahead in life. It is not by increasing your active income. It is by slow and steady building your passive income, completely replacing your active income and retiring whenever you choose to do it. But there's a system that we're breaking down today with the multiple streams of income. And it's really not about I'm going to climb the corporate ladder. It's about I'm going to put in the hard work, and it's a slow and steady process to literally like claw myself out of this hole that our world sets people in. I mean, they really, like the big corporate powers that be, treat people like pawns, and there has to be a separate system to overcome this stuff.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere. It's not like one day you're going to wake up and get a side gig and make hundreds of $1,000s and it's going to be easy. You got to start somewhere. It's going to be small in the beginning, and it'll eventually, grow. Like Gary Vee, he started with garage sales. If you've never heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, he owns a media company now, and he's very successful, and he wants to be the owner of the Jets, New York Jets, in the future. So he started small. He was doing garage sales, and he was working for his dad's wine shop. I mean, he didn't start glamorously like we all think, right? I mean, you all have to start from the ground up, right? And so I think keep that in mind. It's the process of it all too. It's not that you're just going to wake up and have a couple $100,000 from your side gig. That's not real. That's not reality.
So, okay, people are, we give us some examples here, right? You take some type of active income. You are literally trading your time for additional streams of income. Okay, you have this safety net built in because now you have multiple streams of income, and it's active. Now you have saved some money. Okay, it's so important that you don't have that side job to spend. You have to actually save that money. You put it into a sacred account. Everything from the side hustle has to go into a sacred account so that you can move on to the next part. And the next part is multiple streams of income from passive sources. Passive meaning you are not actually trading your time for money. There is not a relationship there. What it is you have already traded your time for money. It happened in the past. Then you saved it, and then you bought something. You bought an asset. right? We invest in real estate. We buy rental properties and commercial buildings that throw off cash flow every single month. So every month, this is why it's passive. We are no longer trading our time. We already did it in the past, and now we are continuing month after month after month to get additional streams of income. And it's totally okay when you start that it's small. It can be small. It could be $100, $300. You're probably not going to start with $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, right? You're not going to just go buy a 50-unit apartment building and throw off, 10 grand a month.
Mm-hmm.
You may start with a cheap little house, a little rental property. You may start with it could be literally anything. But we're going to talk about real estate because that's what we know, that's what we love, that's what we do. So we started off and it was literally just a few small deals, throwing in a couple $100 a month. And that builds and that compounds. And what's so important is when you have that extra income, you have these multiple sources now that you're really only living, your expenses are only living off of your main job, right? All those other things, whether it's active income on the multiple streams or whether it's passive on the multiple streams, going into some kind of pot. You're collecting that income so that you can invest it again. And then you're bringing in the new income, the new babies that your money had, and putting that back into the pot and buying another asset. And this is a snowball effect. This is how over 10, 20, 30 years, you get out of the rat race. You achieve financial freedom. If you look at it from the perspective of how long will it take me to work my W-2 job, save a few percent every month in order to have enough money saved to buy an asset, have that just a small amount come in every month and then save again, it would take literally hundreds of years in order for you to get out of the rat race. Mm-hmm. But that is without the principle of compounding. Compounding over multiple decades is magic. If you haven't put these numbers in a compound interest calculator before, do it now. Like if you could save $400 a month at 10% and continue to reinvest that, man, you'll be set with millions on 10, 20 years. Mm-hmm. So the whole premise here is to have those multiple streams so that you get this snowball started. And the earlier you get the snowball started is the most important. Time is the biggest variable for growth, not exactly how much money you're going to put in. You can start with a small amount and you have longer periods of time. And man, that thing is going to build and build and build and really explode later on in life.
I think there's an important thing to mention during this whole process of the things that you just talked about. Self-control. That is the one thing that comes to mind is self-control. I think of self-control as a muscle, right? It's like going to the gym. First time you go to the gym, you've never gone to the gym, you're super weak, right? Because you have not worked out your muscles. And so I think of it as that. Like when we first got married, I would say I didn't have as much self-control in any area of my life, to be honest. I didn't really have much self-control with drinking or with eating or with working out or whatever I was putting in my mind. But I think that I worked on that muscle, right? I worked on the muscle of self-control in every area of my life, and I'm still getting better. I still have things to work on. But I think specifically for what we're talking about today with spending money, it's a hard thing for some people. Some people just, if they have money, they have to spend it, even if it's $20. So I think starting small and flexing that muscle of saving, of putting it into an account that you can't touch, and it almost gives you that confidence, right? It's like you gain self-confidence by keeping the promises that you say you're going to keep to yourself, right? And so if you say, I'm going to save money, I'm going to put this money into a sacred account for something passive, I'm going to put it into a passive investment, and you see yourself do that, you're going to gain more self-confidence within yourself, and you're going to want to continue to do it. And so it's just continuing to stretch and build that muscle of self-confidence that I think that is super vital to instill in yourself to make this happen for you.
Yeah, that's very true. So by contrast, we have this friend, and when we were first getting married, he was making a good amount of money. He was more successful than us with our active income when we were young married, and he had all these side jobs. And he bought this big, beautiful boat, and literally on the back of it, he named this thing Side Jobs. And he would go to the lake and stuff every week or so during the summer. And it was like, man, he got part of this, but nonetheless, his end result is still the same. He literally still is one paycheck away from financial ruin. And
Mhm.
probably more than that now because he bought these boats and this house and all these kind of things, right? He's just stacking up the debt, stacking up the liabilities. He took this whole hard work, the whole drive, the whole hustle system, and he did part of it. If you only do part of it, you are literally just stacking the chips against you. You are increasing your risk. You have to take the second part of that, which is not spending that money on liabilities, putting it into some type of sacred account and investing in something where that money's going to have babies, because
Mhm.
that was the path. I mean, he did that for many, many years, stacking up this money and then buying liabilities to
Mhm.
have the fun place of it. Didn't he buy a trailer too?
I think
He had a
so.
boat and a trailer
Yeah,
in
it
his
was a
front
lot.
yard,
Yeah.
beautiful house.
Mhm.
And it was like, man, like,
Everyone thought he was doing so well. And that's, I think, what he wanted everyone to think. I think it was more of a, I'm concerned about what other people think than a, hey, I should set myself up for, you know, for success financially by saving this money and putting it and investing it into something that's going to put money back into his pocket.
yeah. So he's my age. He's 40 now. I mean, he probably could have chosen to retire by now if he
Mhm.
had taken that same hustle attitude and moved it into a system.
Mhm.
So I think this is why it's so important that you take this framework of here is how you exit the rat race, because you have to do these multiple things. But if you do them inappropriately, you're really not getting anywhere. But you can retire early. You can set yourself up as a safety net against the Murphy's Law stuff, against the hardships of this world. But really, the whole premise is to invest in these passive income streams until your now passive income surpasses your expenses.
Mhm.
If you get to a point where you're spending $5,000 a month in expenses and your passive income stream is $6,000 a month, now you're at a point where you could stop working if you wanted to, right? And now it's like, okay, well, I'm young enough. My kids are still, young enough. We could travel, we could homeschool, we could do these different things. It sets you out of the rat race, out of this corporate system where now you are free. You can choose the options that really nobody has.
Mhm. I think it's important to look at your future self, not think of the long-term gain of things instead of the short-term gain of things. I think that we're in a culture that's so quick and fast results and they want it now. I want the Amazon Prime. I want my delivery in 2 hours. Like it's such a short-term pleasure and I don't think people think of the long-term gain of passive investing. And so I think it's almost like thanking your future, or your future self will thank you if you put these things into practice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, do you want it now or do you want it later?
Yeah.
Right.
Which
And
most people
everyone
want it now.
choose now.
Everyone wants it now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were lucky enough that we've had this conversation early in our marriage. We got on the same page with these things. We said, hey, here's how we're going to set ourselves up. We set our goals. We said, hey, we don't know how yet because we were babies still, freshly adults. We're going to learn. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get out of the system because we want to choose our time. We want to spend our time with our kids and not working for the man. And again, we hated our jobs and it created such a fire under us to be like, okay, there's got to be something different. And this really was what it was. It was multiple streams of income. Right now we have, 15 or so streams of income that come in every single month. We can stop working and all 15 of these will pay us. And some are small, some are big, some are in between. But regardless, these checks still come in every single month. And it puts us in a position where now we are free to choose to do whatever we want with our life.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to, like, I know you mentioned this already, but I think for people to understand the snowball compounding effect, like, I don't think people really understand the, how much quote unquote easier it gets as it does snowball. I think initially when we first started, it was hard. Like it was not easy, but I think as we kept going and getting one more stream of income, another stream of income, and taking that excess and then putting it into another passive investment, I think it just becomes easier the more you do.
For sure. Yeah, because the streams will grow, but then
Mhm.
your confidence will grow also.
Mhm.
And then you might realize like, hey, from us specifically, like it's real estate. You can over time realize like this property over here, this is a problem property. Like this is constantly bad tenants, or the roof is always leaking, or there's something wrong with this property and this property. I don't like these types of streams of income. I'm going to sell those and I'm going to reinvest that money into a different stream of income. And we've done that several times where you just get rid of the problem ones. And then let's focus on here's our niche. You kind of learn more what you like to invest in and what type of other streams of income you have. And you don't got to get it right the first time. You can switch and grow with these things together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say flex those muscles of self-confidence. Get up in there. Yeah. Yes. And get uncomfortable, right? Rewrite your script. Know that you can do this, and you and your partner can create something incredible. Something that you probably can't even envision in your mind. And so I would say flex those muscles, gain those confidence, and get out there and start get your active income set. Look inside where you're working, how you can make extra income from that, and then utilize that where you're at currently. And then pick up some side gigs, do some things on the weekends. Take that money, put it into an account where you're not going to touch it. You're not going to spend it until it's big enough to put it into a passive investment.
Yep. And I would just say it's hard, but on the backside from where we're sitting now, it is so worth it. Mm-hmm. It is a life-changing system. And I'm so grateful and would do it again every single time. If I had to rewrite the script, I would put in that hard 10 years to be where we're at now, because we're young enough that we have 40 years ahead of us. And it's what we choose to do now, not what our boss chooses us to do.
It's hard now, but it will be harder for your future self if you don't do it now. I'll leave you up on that.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye, y'all.